Welcome back to my channel, you guys. So let's start redecorating my front room in more of a farmhouse look. Now I know I'm gonna have some critics here, but I decided to repaint my dresser. It's been this Annie Sloan blue color for 3 years now and I love it, but I was wanting a change. The color that I wanted was a dark green from Home Depot, but since I can't go get it from Home Depot, I ordered something similar on Amazon. I got a Rust-Oleum color, it's called Hunter Green, and I'll link it down below for you. And that's what I'm gonna use to update my dresser. I'm adding 3 coats of paint to my dresser. The only problem I had with this paint was it was a glossy finish, and I'm not a fan of glossy. I usually like more of a flat or eggshell type of look. Once all of my paint had a chance to dry, I wanted to tone it down a bit. So I'm going to be using my dark wax by Annie Sloan. And I'm just going to put a little bit on a rag. I'm just simply going to wipe the dark wax onto my piece and then use that same rag to kind of wipe it away, kind of smearing it into the dresser. This is really going to tone down that gloss and it's going to give me a little bit of dimension. Plus it's going to darken up the color a little bit because it was still a little bit too bright of a green for me. Now you guys know I can't stop without doing a little distressing. So I'm going to be using some white wax by Annie Sloan and I'm just going to brush that along the edges. This is going to give me just a little bit more dimension and then I'll wipe it away. The great thing about wax is once you put it on, if you feel like it's too much, you can always kind of wipe it away. And that's what I did. I just kind of played around with it and wiped it away when I felt like it was too much and added more. If I felt there was areas where I needed to put more dark wax, I kind of did that until I was happy with the end result. Now for my knobs, I wanted them to be kind of like a muted antique gold, but I didn't have that on hand, so I'm gonna show you what I did. So I took some gold spray paint and I just sprayed that on my knobs and handles. Once I put those onto my dresser, they were way too gold for me. So I just took that same Annie Sloan dark wax and I'm just going to kind of rub it on the handles and it just really antiques them and gives them that great look that I was going for. So behind that big wall behind my dresser, I really wanted to fill that up. I partnered up with Desenio, which is an affordable Scandinavian poster company and today's sponsor, to come up with some posters and beautiful wall art. And when I started looking on their site, there were so many options to choose from. It was really hard. But my heart always gets pulled to nature. I love beach scenes and just things that look very peaceful. I was also really attracted to some of these dark green colors, which is why we changed up the dresser. And that kind of started the color palette for this room. The posters arrived so quickly. They arrived in 5 days shipping to the US. I just picked a variety that really spoke to me and I felt would work well together, and I'll link them all down in the description box. They also have a wide selection of frames. I went with these light oak frames and I think they were really great quality. They were really easy to put together and I loved how these frames had like a plastic covering on them. That way the top of your frames didn't get messed up in shipping. And then you just simply put your posters in there, and the backings were super easy to put on. They just had these little lock-in clips that I put on the back, and I was able to put all these together in just a matter of minutes. I know it can be super intimidating to figure out how to do a picture wall. So the way I like to do it is to start by just laying everything flat on the floor. So you can just start moving the pictures around and seeing how they'll look up on your wall. I also think it's a great idea to take a picture of them. That way you can look at it and see how it's gonna look on the wall. So I may do like 3 or 4 different options, and then I'll flip through them on my phone and I'm like, okay, that one looks the best. And if you're still stuck, you could always get online and look for different inspiration to build your picture wall. So Chris was nice enough to help me with hanging these on the wall. And I'm gonna start by putting my lamp in the corner because I know I want this to be the prominent piece on my shelf. We're just gonna start lining everything up and putting the screws in the wall to hang the pictures. If you're interested in the Decennial pictures, they're offering a code Liz10 for 10% off discount on top of the 30% offer that they already have on their site, and you can get this until April 20th. How awesome do these pictures look on my wall? All right, so I'm letting you guys into my crazy dungeon of decor. One of my goals this spring was to clean this out, but lucky for us, I didn't because I literally have so much to choose from. So I'm gonna go through all of this decor, see what I can find that maybe just needs a little bit of repurposing, and I can make it over to fit better in my decor today. To spruce up my lamp, I've had this lamp that I thrifted for a long time, but I wanted to add a little bit to it to darken it up. So I'm gonna use my same Annie Sloan dark wax that I was using on the dresser. And I'm just going to take that and lightly wipe that onto my lamp and also pull it off so you don't have like little goops of dark wax on there. And this is just going to darken it up. This is gonna be really subtle, but instead of having that light white appearance, it's going to have more of a brown dark appearance in the corners. It looks like I grabbed this cool vase for $3.99 at Goodwill. I love the way it looks. I'm gonna update it just a little bit to fit in better with the decor. So I decided with the green vase, I was just simply going to clean it up. I think it looks great sitting out next to my lamp. And I'm gonna add in these 2 sprigs that I picked up a while back from the Target dollar spot for $3. I also have this set of candlesticks that I thrifted, and I like them gold, but I have a lot of brass candlesticks, so I'm thinking that these need to be updated as well. I'm spray painting the candles in a matte black spray paint. These candles are really gonna help to balance out the left side of my dresser. I've had this tray right here for probably, I would say, close to 10 years, and I just don't pull it out and use it anymore. So I'm wondering if I can update it a little bit so it fits in better. I decided to spray this piece with an off-white, which is not really a color that I do too often, and I just sprayed the back side of it. And then once that dried, I flipped it over, and I think I ended up doing about 3 coats on the front side of this. You just want to go with really thin coats. Once that had a chance to dry, I put that on my dresser next to those black candlesticks, and I'm going to be adding in a succulent from Dollar Tree just to kind of finish it off. Now, turning my attention to the other side of my room, I have these 2 silver chairs, and I wanted to change them up a bit. So I added in 2 gold pillows that I borrowed from my living room. I have so many pillows around my house though, and I feel like I just kind of switch them all the time.
I have all of these books sitting in this container. I think these are from my dining room and they're just too great. So I'm gonna pull some of these out because I can use these.
So I kept my white table that was in the center of these two chairs, but I'm gonna use two of my hardback books under there just to kind of add a little bit more dimension and texture. I love using hardback books in my decor.
I just pulled this basket out. I think I picked it up last year for maybe $1/4, so I have an idea for this.
So with this basket, I decided to cut off the handles because I was going to give it a completely different look. And I thought it would be great as like a little tiny plant holder. I went rummaging through my craft room and I came up with this really cool trim. You may have a similar tassel or fringe or ribbon that you can use, and I just cut it off so it would fit around my basket, and then I hot glued it in place. I think this piece looks great with an IKEA plant inside of it. And literally this plant container cost me, I think it was $1/4. So fun and so easy to do. Next to this little grouping, I'm gonna be putting in a piece that I picked up from Hobby Lobby on clearance, and that will round off my table. I found this basket that I thought would actually work really well in this room, and I went and borrowed a few pillows from the living room. I think one of these was from the dining room, and I'm just going to add them into my basket, and then I'm going to be adding in a throw that I had on hand as well. And I think this just makes the space look cozy and more inviting.
This set of Dollar Tree vases I think are really cute as a set, and I think that I can update them to fit better in the decor.
So for these glass containers, I'm just going to use my painter's tape and tape off the bottom. I'm trying to get that line as straight as possible. And I'm gonna repeat that for all 3 of my vases. Now, I'm not concerned exactly where this line is, just use your best judgment. I wanted to be able to see about half of the candle. Next, I'm going to use some black ink by Waverly, and I'm just going to do 2 coats on the bottom half of my vases. Next, I'm going to remove the tape once that has a chance to dry. And then if there's any areas that came on top of it, I'll just use a pair of scissors and I'll just take off any excess to try to make that line as straight as possible. From there, you just have to add back in your candles, and I think these are going to look great sitting out on my daughter's piano. And here's the final look at how my front room looks all transformed. a comment. Let me know what your favorite project was from this video. If you're interested in my wall prints, I will link all the information down in the description box. If you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed. I post 2 DIYs each week, and if you missed our last one, I'll link it here for you, and I'll talk to you guys in our next one. Bye.